All right. Happy Friday, everyone. Give people a few seconds to start joining here. Welcome to everyone joining live and on the recording later. Go. All right. So I'm going to start getting to it as folks join. Um, Today, I am here to talk about young adults, college kids, really anyone 18 years and older, and key legal documents that they and we all should have, but also why, which I think is an important part of that. What is the point? What does it do for us? Um, so again, welcome to those live and watching the recording. I am going to get into concrete specifics, what we should have, how to set them up, um, how to go about that. But I want to start a little bit more general. So uh, let's get into what happens if we don't have these documents. So we're going to be talking about healthcare directives, HIPAA releases, um, and powers of attorney and what happens if we don't have these documents in place and something happens, an accident, an emergency, any situation where we need someone or want someone to help us out, to be able to know what's going on. One reason this is such an important thing for college kids and young adults is, what happens if something happens at school, whether you know that your kid was involved or you don't know, and you need to be able to uh, call to their local hospital, their student center, their whoever, and find out, like, is my kid okay? What is going on? I heard something, I didn't hear something. um, and this is why these documents are important. That's why we're here today, because without something in place, uh, the likelihood is that parents and anyone trying to help and find out what's going on is going to be locked out after 18. In California, the US, we're adults, and our information is private. So that's what happens if we don't have these. Basically, our as we may have, we've all been to the dentist, the doctor, some form, and they often have you sign some kind of HIPAA form. So what the heck is that? Um, so HIPAA laws, generally speaking, in California and throughout the United States, mean that our medical information is confidential, as it should be. I think there's a really good reason for that. Our financial information is also personal, private, not just anyone can access it. So that's great, right? Our medical information, our financial information should be private, and there are often a few people that we want to be able to know what's going on, to step in, to help, to uh, yeah, to be there for us, um, at any age, and especially for young adults who are on their own for the first time, and for you as the parents, if your kid is off for the first time, that's a really terrifying thought, to not be able to find out what's going on with someone we love and want to take care of. Um, so that's why we're here. That's why this is important. Without something in place, we can be locked out of finding out what's going on. So, um, so assuming that we want to give someone the authority, the permission to see our medical records, talk to our doctors, our medical team, find out, has this person been hospitalized? What's going on? Are they okay? Uh, should I rush down there? What do I need to do? Um, how do we authorize that? So let me back up for a moment and introduce myself. My name is Marisa Nelson. I am a wills, trust, and probate lawyer, an estate lawyer. I've been assisting my clients with wills, trust, and probate, as well as healthcare directives, HIPAA releases, powers of attorney. The things we're going to be talking about here today are part of estate planning as a broader term. I've been doing that since 2012. Is what I have focused on throughout my legal career. Um, my law firm is based in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area in California. I do serve clients throughout the world with a California legal need. Um, and yeah, so this is what I've been doing throughout that time, and I can't keep doing things that I don't enjoy. I'm not the kind of person that can just show up and slog it out. And I'm still here because this is really important stuff. A little bit of planning can really make emergencies suck less, as I like to say. I can't prevent those situations, but I can help you ensure that the people who need to be involved, can know what's going on, can act for you, and that you can act for your kids. Um, throughout that time that I've been practicing in this area, 13 and a half years somehow already, um, I talk with almost all of my clients about these issues: healthcare, HIPAA releases, powers of attorney. Um, how do we share the information you want to share with the right people? And of course, often the question comes up, okay, what about my kids? They're adults now, they're about to be adults now. What do they need? They don't have assets yet, often, but they are over 18. They have some needs here, right? These same needs could come up. So, early on, we did try working kind of one-on-one with these young adults, and we do sometimes still do that. And uh, oftentimes, the need is more limited when we're 18, 19, 20. The topics that we're talking about today are what are the most important, and maybe wills and trusts are a topic for another day often. Not always, but, like, if we can at least get the basics in place for these young adults, it can provide a lot of peace of mind for these college kids and for their parents, for you. Um, so from there, I have started to talk more about this topic. A lot of people don't know that this is even a thing. We just assume that we can keep helping out our kids. And similarly with spouses and our parents, it can be a shock sometimes to find out in an emergency that, hey, nobody can share information. You don't have anything in place. Spouses do not have automatic rights to be involved, to know what's going on, to make decisions. Um, Parents of young adults do not have that right. Of course, younger children, up until a point, there is that right, and then there's some restrictions as teenagers get older, and then at 18, parents are pretty much cut off that way. And no, whatever our familial relationship is, we don't automatically have the rights to do anything there, and that can be really heartbreaking and terrifying to not be able to get information, to not be able to help. Um, so all of that to say, that's why we're here today to talk about this. And one of the solutions that I will talk more about as well, but just in case you want to jump straight to it and move on, I do now have a DIY option that presents these forms. You can just buy them on my website. It's $100. It comes with complete instructions. These are California forms. That does matter. So please, if you are not in California, get documents that are appropriate to your state. But if you live in California, or you or your child live in California, or they go to college in California, if there's that California tie, you can use these documents. Um, and they include complete instructions on how to fill them out properly, which is, of course, a key part of that. Um, so as we go along, feel free to drop your questions in the comments, DM me, whether you're here live right now or asking later on. Either way, go ahead and send over your questions. Um, that is a good segue to mention that, of course, I'm sure you're able to figure out that just might be by me being here live on social media, that does not make me your lawyer. I am a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer. Um, Please do get legal information and advice specific to your state. Um, these things do vary throughout the United States and, of course, throughout the world. I am licensed in California and only California, and I'm a lawyer, not a tax advisor. So um, that applies in general, but of course, also if you are sending in questions, I can provide general information. There may be times where it makes sense um, to hire me, to hire a lawyer to help with specific legal advice. But I can provide some general information today, which I do think can be helpful to a lot of us. So again, go ahead and feel free to drop your questions in the comments, DM me, whether live or later. Um, yeah, so that's the talk. All right. So uh specifics, let's get into it. Um, Today we are going to focus specifically on these documents that I mentioned apply to all of us, to young adults, college kids specifically. We are not going to talk about wills and trusts today. That's the topic for another day. Meaning we're not going to talk about how to pass on your assets to the right person, how to name a trustee, executor, things like that, inheritance. We are going to talk specifically about these foundational young adult documents that we all should have, and go from there. So, technical terms, healthcare directives, HIPAA releases, powers of attorney is what we're talking about today. Um, Starting right from the titles, there are variations in other states. You may also hear about healthcare powers of attorney, which is a part of a healthcare directive. You might also hear the term living will, which is very confusing because everyone uses it differently, and it means something different to everyone, aside from its actual legal name. So in general, a living will is part of a healthcare directive as well. Like, what treatment options do you want? What healthcare wishes do you have? But in California, we refer to a healthcare directive for healthcare, and then we also have financial powers of attorney. Um, let's just start with what each of those is and what it does. We've talked a little bit already about why and how they're important, but we'll talk more about that in a moment. But just technical details for a moment, feel free to skip ahead if you don't care, because you don't have to know the terms, right? You can either purchase my package and just walk through everything in there. You can work with a lawyer to walk you through these, and that's one of the many benefits of getting personal legal advice is you don't have to know, hey, I need this, this, and this. You're not ordering off a menu. You can say, here's my concerns, my goals, please help me achieve those. The lawyer just figures out the exact titles. But if you're the kind of person that likes to know specifics, this part's for you. So healthcare directives and HIPAA releases go together. They are slightly different. A healthcare directive allows you to name a person or persons to make decisions for you, to talk to your doctor, to handle things if you are not able to do that yourself. So whether you're incapacitated, unconscious, in surgery, whatever the situation is, if you are not able to tell your doctor, I want this treatment, not that treatment, um, your healthcare directive is where you choose someone to do that for you, just in case you need that. Um, you can name multiple people. I recommend one at a time, but backups are a really good idea. You never know who will be available in the exact moment that you need them. Um, It's important to include up-to-date contact information. Yeah, so that's one key part of a healthcare directive is who should act for you in cases needed. Um, the second part is, what do you want them to do? We don't want to just say, here, you make all the decisions for me. you decide. Most of us have some preferences around medical care and what we would want in any given situation. A lot of times people latch onto the idea this is about when to pull the plug, whether to pull the plug. And that is a key part of this document is, in the worst case medical scenario, if there is that tough decision to be made, what what do you want? At what point do you want care discontinued, if at all? Uh, but it's much that that should not be the only consideration in this document, right? Um, what types of care do you want? Do you want pain medication? Is it important to you to minimize pain or to maximize um, clarity and awareness and reducing pain medication unless it's really necessary? Um, what types of things make you comfortable? Is it important to you to be at home or not so much? Do you want your pets to be able to come visit you if you're recovering? It's a really important one to me and a lot of my clients. So, those types of uh, care, quality of life things. Um, and you might say, well, the person I'm choosing knows me very well. They know what's important to me. That may be true. It may not be as true as you think it is. And our brains don't work as well when we're in these situations. So a written reminder is really, really helpful. And many of these things your person cannot do unless you have legally authorized them in the document. So that is a really critical part of this too, is not just um, sharing the information with them, which is very important, but also giving this person the authority to do these things, which are not always possible unless you have this in writing. Um, Other key things to think about and include in these documents are, would you want to donate your organs or not? Are there any restrictions on what they can be used for? Um, Anybody that you do or do not want to visit you can be included. Um, yeah, a lot of details there. So those are all included in the forms that I offer. There are many variations on these forms, and I think it's important to use to start from a place that is including the information that you care about sharing, and then add on to that. So that's healthcare directives. Who should act for you in case you cannot tell your doctor what you want in terms of treatments, and what do you want them to do for you in various situations. And So that goes hand in hand with the HIPAA release. Healthcare directive is who's in charge of doing things for you, who can make decisions for you, and what decisions. And then the HIPAA release allows them to make informed decisions. Who do you want to be able to know what's going on, have access to your medical records, speak to your doctors and medical team directly, nurses, the whole team. Who can they share information about your condition, your treatment, your status with? We always, of course, want the decision makers to be on that HIPAA release. That list of who can know what's going on should be at least the decision makers. Informed decision making is a great concept. Um, we may also want to include people on the HIPAA release that are not decision makers, such as like if we want our parents to be making decisions for us. We may also want our siblings to know what's going on directly, be able to ask questions directly, especially if they are in another location. We may want grandparents, friends. There may be a longer list of people that we want to be allowed to know what's going on, versus decision making. So those are generally two separate forms, not always, but really important to have. Um, yeah, so that's healthcare. Again, please, if there's anything you want to know more about, drop your comments, your questions in the comments or the DMs. Um, So healthcare, those are the two key things there. And then on the financial side, as I said, I think the The healthcare stuff is so important. It's so personal and often quite urgent. But the financial side is part of reality as well. If there are bills to pay, accounts that need to be accessed, rent to pay or stop payment, automatic payments to cancel or confirm, um, making sure that the medical bills continue to be paid, or if there's, any one-off charges that need to be paid or even discussed. Financial power of attorney, that's where that comes in, and that is an important piece of this as well. So the package that I mentioned I offer on my website does include, so this is the Young Adult Foundation's legal documents, and that does include the healthcare directive and HIPAA release that we just talked about, as well as the power of attorney. Um, yeah, so we do want a power of attorney in this situation to be pretty broad because we just don't know what the situation is. There are types of powers of attorney that are specific to one situation. There are powers of attorney that we want to expire if we become incapacitated, but this is not that case. If we're planning ahead for a medical emergency, for incapacity, we want our trusted person to be able to handle whatever financial thing for us that is needed in our best interest. So that is the deal with powers of attorney. Um, Yeah, if you have questions there as well, of course, let me know. So let's recap a little bit here. We've talked about healthcare directives, HIPAA releases, and powers of attorney. What are they? How they help? Why we need them? Uh, Without these documents, your trusted people cannot find out what's going on, cannot act for you, may not know what you want or need them to do. And this, of course, applies to all of us 18 years and older in California, and especially for young adults, college kids who are off school for the first time and out of the house, and they need their parents to be able to help in an emergency, and you as the parent need to be able to help and find out what's going on. So those are those documents. I'll talk a little bit more about solutions. Again, these are state specific. There are some similarities throughout the states within the US, and the laws in this area are state specific. So it's really important that you use forms and obtain legal information and legal advice that is specific to your state. These things are based on your state of residence where you live. Um, Not necessarily temporarily, long term. Generally, where your residence is where you plan to return to. They are valid in any state. So if you live in California, you complete California documents and then you travel to visit family in another state, friends, whatever you're doing, they are still valid in the other state and should even be followed in other countries. Although, of course, every country is different, but within the US, any hospital that accepts Medicare dollars does have to uh, follow your wishes as laid out in these legal documents. They do have to honor other states' laws. Again, these look similar in other states, but not exactly the same. So the forms that I offer are California documents. Um, my website is marisanelson.com. You can check my bio and the comments for those links and look for the Young Adult Legal Foundation's documents. They include the documents that we have talked about today, healthcare directives, HIPAA releases, and powers of attorney. They, I try to be comprehensive while also straightforward. They include options to share your wishes as well as key things like who should be in these roles. My package does, of course, include instructions, how to fill them out, um, best practices, as well as some information on where to store these once they are complete. I do have a blog post about that going live any day now. That should that answers a lot of questions around what to do with these documents once you have them to make sure they're useful when you need them. It's really important to give a copy to your medical provider, your insurance company, your doctor. Make sure they have a copy of the healthcare directive and the HIPAA release on file, and also give a copy to your key trusted people so that they can bring it with them and advocate for you anytime that's needed. So it's really important to do both and to make sure that those are stored in a place that they can be accessed in that situation. So not just a hard copy in a safe somewhere or on a desk or on a shelf, but ideally also a soft copy in the cloud that is accessible when and where it's needed. So I think that that covers key things that I wanted to talk about and share today. Let me just check here and see if we've got any questions. And if not, then we will leave it there. But I do want to make sure that I catch anything. Don't see any right now, but if I see it in the comments after we're done here, I will follow up. And I will also add links directly to the form so you don't have to go searching for those. Thanks for joining me, and we will see you again next month.